Well, here we are with the coach who I believe is maybe having his best year to date after 3+ decades. I'm just saying, big win against Case Western, 43 points. That quarterback, Romano, 3 touchdown passes. Man, it was one you said you had to get. Why did you have to get? Because you have lived to play another day. Brockport, Rochester, New York. We'll talk about that in a moment. But what is it about that game that you just kept saying, we got to get this one, we got to get this one?
I think it's a mindset that's happened all along. You know, as a coach, you're just so grateful that you got an opportunity to coach another game. So like when you hear we're on to Cincinnati or give it 24 hours, you hear any of the NFL guys or any of the big time coaches or anybody, hey, we'll watch the films and we'll get the guys ready to go, on Monday. It's just this hope of getting better for the next week. And the big thing too, though, with this, let's just call it what it is. You win and you go to the postseason. And that was something that every one of these guys marked down that they wanted to do.
Well, this will not be our last show because they are moving on. So what can you tell me about Brockport?
Well, I can tell you they're in a really good football league. We're hoping that, playing Grove City and playing Scrimmage in Westminster and playing W&J and playing Case, we're hoping that prepared us to play these guys. I think it did. But they're a very physical team. There's no Division II schools in New York, so a lot of these guys end up at these Division III state schools. So they've got guys that look the part. They really do, and they've had a lot of success there.
So I got to talk about this because I just love talking Geneva and everything about it. And we'll save the finale for next week, but there will not be another Gino DeMarco at Geneva. And I'm just saying, when you think of the years that you put in here, in most cases, a job like this is a starting point for someone. So I think the next coach in waiting has to be someone, my opinion, from here, local ties, understands the landscape, okay? Because you want someone maybe 15, 20 years younger than we are right now who's going to be long-term, because you really need someone that people can buy into long-term, one generation to the next, Not just in athletics, but what their school has to offer, which is an incredible education. But even you, it's amazing when you think of where you came from, what you did, how you ended up here, but one season went to the next, to 10, to 20, and you never left. That is so rare. That usually doesn't happen at a school that's Division III. Is that a fair statement?
No, it doesn't happen. Period. About 10 years ago, we started tracking this thing as far as longest tenured coach, and that means you stayed at one place. I remember writing an article, about 10 years ago, maybe 12, Football Quarterly, on how to manage your career if you're going to stay at one place. You have to continue to change. You got to continue to try to stay ahead of the curve. And we've made some good decisions on that.
Yeah, you have.
We made some not so good decisions along the way that kind of, you end up with a couple years where in the record book, all people are going to do is look and see the numbers. They don't understand the story. They don't understand the situation. They don't understand how many you got injured that year, who you were playing with. Nobody really understands that except the coaches and players that competed that year. They know.
All right. Now, I couldn't wait to get here today. This is something you're hearing for the first time. A man that played football here, maybe one of the best ever coaches, Dan Matzuk. You know him well.
Yes.
He's a citizen of Rochester, went to a school board meeting.
Yes.
Our alma mater.
I know.
You know exactly where I'm going with this. The possibility of co-opting certain athletics. Let me just tell you where it's at. New Brighton voted 9-0 to go for it. Rochester said, let's just cool our jets, let's table it a little bit. So football will have to wait because they missed a window. So they're going to have like another year before they have the opportunity to co-op. But if they co-op the football team and the girls basketball team in New Brighton with Rochester, they will become 3A, okay? Some may not want to leave the MAC because there's a lot of history there. But Dan was just giving all the parameters, and he's a great educator, obviously former superintendent. He was like the quarterback that put
Sure.
the Center High School in Monaca blueprint, which is perfection together, Central Valley. But this is what's so sad, Gino, and we talked about this. Don Phillips, who was an assistant here, great player at Beaver, obviously had an exceptional high school career as a coach, got back into the coaching ranks at Rochester. Right now, as we speak, on this November day, do you know how many kids they have on their football team in Rochester if the season were to start today? 14. So how in the world can anybody with numbers like that, even Dan said, it's impossible to field a football team. Just your thoughts about co-op or maybe down the road, not necessarily Rochester, New Brighton, but these school districts having to merge or co-op here in Beaver County, where we see the numbers nowhere where they were when we were growing up and the mills were booming. Go ahead.
Well, I think it's a dose of reality that sometimes we don't want to face. That people are not moving in by the thousands into Beaver County. And times have changed. And you're not going to be in a situation where you have 18 school districts where your son can play football on a Friday night on a team with 25 kids. And let's just call it what it is. I mean, I remember going through these discussions and know all these dear coaches and administrators in our beloved area. And everybody has their portion of what they see, but they see the small picture.
Right.
The big picture is what kind of education are students getting?
Do they have the tools?
Do they have the tools at the school? Now technology is changing in that. Technology is changing it so that students can get what they need if they needed to take a special math class.
Okay, you said just moments ago they'll look at the schedule, but nobody really knows the backstory. Now let me just take this one step further, how I make everything connect. You realize some of the best years you had a pool of players from Beaver County. You put people in the seats at Reeves because they wanted to watch those kids matriculate from high school to college. And you got a couple of really strong kids from New Brighton, the Willie Murrays, and we talked about this. But there's not a big pool of players in Beaver County anymore to even matriculate to Geneva. The numbers are dwindling. I mean, you look at Beaver Falls, where we are. Back in the 60s, they were graduating 500 to 600 students a year. Now, obviously, Blackhawk came into play, but the sheer numbers aren't there. Even in our alma mater, they're not there. I don't know how you fix it, but I really think, my humble opinion, as a fan of education, something I stress all the time about, and I love athletics. I mean, I love all high school athletics, from volleyball to cross country, you name it, football, golf, tennis, baseball, basketball. Mergers have to be considered, not just for athletics, but what you said earlier. We got to be able to give them the resources to learn and the teachers to teach. I mean, when you think about this, 14, even if it's 20 players, 25, that's not a lot on a football team.
Dan Matzik is just an incredible resource because he saw what is the most successful merger. And I remember talking years ago when Woodland Hills was put together, and George was part of that, and saw that come together. That
Novak.
Was, George Novak is just a special person. I personally think that if there was any way that this could happen, because you're talking about property values of homes,
right.
You're talking about taxes, you're talking about so many external things, but based upon academic/athletic or athletics/academic tools, I believe a synergy can be created if mergers happen.
I hope so.
And what I mean by that is, I mean, you're going to take 2 places or 3 places, make it into one, and it is going to become greater than the sum of what they were individually. So you may end up getting more people out to play sports because there's an interest, because there's better equipped coaching staff that can encourage these people to give it an opportunity.
See, anybody can talk X and O's, and I've done these coaches shows, television, radio for 30 plus years. Bottom line is you got to score more points than your opponent. But football is a lot like life, and when you have a place of higher learning like Geneva, and obviously the outlying area that is our home, Beaver County, all of these stories that we talk about, every story you read about or hear about, it always comes back to where you live, and you're dealing with the exact same thing, many of you who are watching this on this incredible tool that's social media. Listen, education needs help right now. The sheer numbers, I mean, you saw when we had the budget impasse, people are fearful. I mean, they needed that money for these public school districts. And in my opinion, whether it's at Geneva, public education, or, hey, parochial, whatever it may be, private school, cyber education, it's still the most important thing we have to offer future generations.
Well, we're going in this direction as far as, getting a solid education, and it was before that we felt that getting an education in the public school system was something that was adequate.
Right.
And in the state of Pennsylvania, that for years, the quality has been outstanding just because of the money that was spent. And now, with population shifts and things like that, and it's become a political football. And is it the best model? Probably not.
Wow.
And you've got private schools that are popping up, and so many different variables. But if you can't provide a basic education in your public school, people aren't going to move into your district.
It's still location, 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 and school district.
Right. I really believe that if somebody had to mandate it and say do it, and we want 5 school districts total out of Beaver County, it would cause mass hysteria, but it would probably be the best thing that would happen to your place.
Well, I think Dan Matzuk said it perfectly. He kind of was reiterating the whole Monaca Center High School merger, and people were complaining. They wanted their identity. He said, look, you'll be an Indian from Monaca, and you'll be a Trojan from Center High School because you graduated when they were that. But now moving forward, it's different. But
You're
it's
a
not
warrior.
going to change anything. And I use this example. I've been in Monaca twice now. Second time, close to, 13 years, hard to believe. But when this whole thing started to go down, I even was a little sentimental because of the teams that I covered and the connection to athletes, teachers, and moments in my broadcast career. But quietly, those fall nights when the leaves were rustling down the street, you noticed that names and pennants and things were hanging that were Central Valley. Mark Lyons wins that WPIAL early on, and it was like it was a movie, a happy ending. Everybody was like one. So it can work.
Oh, it can work. It has to work. That's the difference. All right. I think we need to get to the point where it must work, and as long as we're in this negotiating phase of should we do it, should we not do it, we're competing against time, and people across the country are moving on, and there's going to be change. I mean, change happened here change happened here during my tenure as a football coach. And what do you do with it? I mean, you've got to roll with it. You've got to be able to adapt to it. You've got to see the blessings in it, and you've got to approach it with the best attitude possible.
But the last thing, and we're going to wrap up, we'll be back next week. They've got Brockport coming up, Rochester, New York, a bowl bid, a game for Geneva, who's had a tremendous year this year. And the great thing, I saw your quarterback with your coaches watching film when he might be thinking about going home for turkey and Thanksgiving and getting away. You have these young athletes buying into this program. They want to be a part of it. You've got a great eclectic group of assistant coaches, Wargo, Doug Haddock's back there. I mean, you got a kid who came from Coastal Carolina. I mean, there's so much good. You can't believe that I retain all this stuff. I'm in the shadows, but I'm watching. And I really think this is such an incredible opportunity for whoever takes the baton and moves forward. But just the education that these young faith-based students get at Geneva, it's second to none. But facilities, it comes down to facilities in so many aspects of life, not just the tools to educate, but in the field of athletics. And you've said it many times, you have to have facilities. What these mergers do, it gives these schools an opportunity. Yeah, they may get bumped up a class or two, but they'll have a better weight room, they'll have a better playing surface. All sports can benefit. You get a turfed field. There's so much that can come from mergers. Listen, money still matters, even in public education.
Well, money matters, and the management of money is what will either make a success or a failure. And we're at a point now where I really believe that if this happens, and it's going to someday, that there will be a great synergy. And you gave examples of that in facilities. Let's say we're in a district and we want to hire a chemistry teacher. Right? Chemistry teachers are in demand.
Where's Miss Sigworth when you need her?
She was
the best.
She was the best.
She put up with me.
She was the best. But all these things, and I want to give kudos to some people. And I know people think I'm playing a role of politician here. But school board directors go through an enormous amount of grief.
It's hard work.
Hard work. They're presented with data from both sides. You know,
two of the most amazing people that have touched my life, literally and figuratively, have been mentors. One, Dick Shaw, who's no longer here. He was actually on the school board in New Brighton, and I used to think to myself, this guy, Michael Baker, he's worldwide. He's a traveler and a guy that's done so many incredible things, but he still felt an obligation to be on the school board. The other one, Dr. Gerald Pfeiffer, I've been with him on Medical Frontiers forever, one of the most brilliant people I've ever been around. He was on the school board at North Allegheny because he felt as though, and I talked to him off the air about that, and that was a very important role to him. And I know many people on these boards now, to them, they really want to be involved and they want to have a say. And to me, that's good. That's democracy at its best.
It has to be. This is what our country's about.
All right, listen, sit still. Young man, come over here and push that button. All right, that'll do it for today. Back with him. Oh, real quick. Starting again this week, you don't want to miss it, every Sunday through the college football playoffs. First segment, Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show. Gino DeMarco, and I gave him a little bit of homework, so don't you dare miss that. And good luck to the Geneva College Golden Tornadoes. Brockport coming up, bowl game, Rochester, New York. So long, everybody.